magic. So it'll take a little bit before a message will show up here, but you don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
You can just
keep going.
continue doing what you're doing. And I will try to handle the chat.
Okay.
Perfect. Hey, a chain of them.
Yeah. I really haven't seen a lot of chains, so this is the longest one I've seen. Let's see, I need to slow that down.
We got off to a bit of a slow start.
Gotta take a picture.
You can follow the chat here.
Okay.
Or just keep doing what you're doing. So today we're looking at diatoms from Clear Lake, Iowa, and have with me Addie.
Hello.
Addie's been running everything, and I actually left her running the machine while I was sitting on the other side of the room in a faculty meeting for the last hour and 45 minutes. So now she's a pro. She's gotten the SEM down. It's now just an extension of her body and mind, which is what happens after you use it for a little while, for sure. And Eddie's been trying to work on sort of refining the taxonomy from the diatoms from Clear Lake, and the SEM is helpful for this. So what do we have here, do you know?
It's some sort of Starosira.
Starosira, yeah. And we know that it has these sort of like spatulate, actually these are sort of almost cruciform like spines on them. And this is a colony, right? So this is one diatom, this is one diatom. The whole frustule for each one. And then another one down here, and I think there's a half of a valve at the bottom. And we're still trying to figure out what this thing is. We know it's the Starosira, so we can get it into the genus, and then we're kind of struggling with which one of these things it belongs to. It looks a lot like that picture.
Yeah.
But I don't know where that would be attributed, so we're sort of like on the fence about whether it's Starosira construens variety venter or whether it is something different. And the primary difference between them are really just the shape, the outline of the valve is different than what we were expecting. So 2-3 hours on the SEM, and now it's just easy for you, right?
Yeah. It's an
The
SEM
focus.
crash course.
It's the easy way to do it. It's like an immersion course.
Yeah.
Where we just tell you, figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, with some training.
Okay.
But I could probably go to lunch and you'd be fine on it, right?
I would think so.
See? Easy.
As long as nothing broke or anything, I'd be
Well,
fine.
if something breaks, I won't know what to do. Depending on what you break, I guess. I would probably just panic at that point.
I think that's anything.
You also get used to sort of picking out things that are probably diatoms versus things that aren't. Because I noticed when you were, oh, actually, that thing right there that's in
Right
the
here?
field of view, can you zoom in on it? It's not a diatom. Do you know what it is?
It's phytolith.
It's a phytolith. Yeah. So
Looks like a saddle.
look at you throwing
Okay,
around
good.
phytolith terminology.
I have to be ready for that quiz later, so.
Yeah. So Addie's in a class with Dr. Yost, and he's teaching them about phytoliths. And I'm learning a little bit about phytoliths myself in the process. Nothing happened if I eat it. I don't know what that means, Kane. You mean if you eat a diatom or a phytolith? No. They're made out of silica. So the skeletons won't do anything to you. And in fact, there's diatom frustules and probably phytolith frustules in your, or phytolith pieces in your beer filters and in toothpaste. And so people probably ingest a little bit of it by accident all the time. And nothing bad will happen to you from eating the skeleton. There are some diatoms that are toxic in the marine realm, but they're not always toxic. And it's a pretty limited selection of just Pseudonychia, basically, that are the problem makers, as far as we know. This weird little guy we think is probably Pseudostarcyra brevistrata. We found one earlier that was like a weird beastie.
Do you think this is the same thing? Just
Yeah,
normal?
I think the other one was just deformed. Because unless you find those weird little half striae in the center of the valves or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably was just a deformed one. Sometimes when you're trying to make your skeleton, it's just hard.
I feel that.
Daily tasks sometimes are a challenge. That big log-looking thing that's there, that's actually a sponge spicule, which I'm sure you know by now.
That's just
some debris.
dirt.
Yep.
Actually, it looks like there might be something right.
I've also been hanging out on stub number 3 for a long time. You like
I
this
know.
one?
Well, it seems like there's a lot more in this one for whatever reason.
Oh, a lot more of the little fragile that you're looking at?
Yeah.
The little
And just
Starcyra?
a lot more in general.
They don't look as badly dissolved, too.
Yeah.
So the quality of them is a little bit better than on the previous 2 slides. Oh, a
But-
Cimbella.
Right there.
Have you been down here looking at any of the bigger things?
Not
Or you
yet.
just mostly focused on the little tiny colonial things?
I've been trying to focus on the small things.
Good.
While I'm.
I mean, also good
while
to look
I'm
at some
here.
of the big ones. But
Yeah.
Oh, what is that in the left-hand corner?
Right here.
Oh,
Star
it's...
anise.
Yep. I didn't even get a chance to quiz you. You're too good at, like, getting things into genus.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about genus, but I mean, for the most part, sometimes I'll see one that I'm not sure what it is, but
So, same as for me.
yeah.
At some point, sometimes
Yeah.
I struggle with genus.
Is this a Pinularia?
That's a Pinularia.
Okay.
I don't even have to ask, you just know it. It's good. Did you think you were going to get to this point in life where you could just look at something
No.
and go, I know what that is?
I'm glad it worked out that way because it worked out well for me.
It's working out pretty well for me that you're learning it
Yeah.
too.
Let's see.
So here we have Oligosayra, and that is ambigua. I saw you had another Oligosayra that was not ambigua.
Yeah, it was really weird looking. I
Uh,
can actually pull it up.
was it Italica, or do you know? Did you look?
I think it was maybe.
Subarctica?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well,
It
I'm
was
not putting
really-
you on the spot.
It was really small, and the areolae looked different than anything
Yeah, and it had
else.
spines.
Yeah. And they were long spines too.
Yeah.
I was hoping I could find some more of that one, see if it's common, because I have that one really small ambigua. I've just been calling it ambigua drum because so, but I've never seen any spines
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I think that was a little weirdo in the sample.
There's one right here. Oh. That one's probably Pinnata.
Yep. Star Sorella.
Yeah.
Colloquially, we call it pinnata, but it could be pinnata or neopinnata.
Let's see. That is.
Phytolite.
Yes. Is it another saddle?
I think it's a saddle.
Okay.
Getting ready for that quiz. We'll just drag Chad in here, and
Yeah.
You can look at them and tell them what they are. No pressure.
Let's see.
So this is probably what, Fragillaria crotonensis?
I think so.
And they have a sort of a fat middle
Yeah.
like this. Sometimes it has a slight pinch and constriction in the middle, but they usually have like a fat middle and then like long skinny
Mm-hmm.
ends. And I saw you had one that
And-
was like an external view earlier that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
All the Fragillaria are always somewhat difficult to identify because they don't have a lot of really distinct characters. Have you seen, I know in some of the samples you had some Stephanodiscus. Have you seen any Stephanodiscus?
I've seen maybe a couple.
Fragments or something?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this is a girdle view, something.
It is a girdle view of something.
Don't know
I have news for you, though.
what.
That is punctus striata.
Really.
Huh? See how the stria have little tiny holes, like rows of 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. So mixed in with what you already have is another little weirdo. But that is not a Starosirella, and that is not a Pseudostarosira, because the pore coverings over the bigger areolae
Mm-hmm.
are the sort of little grid things.
Yeah.
Punctus striata.
Okay.
That's the genus it belongs in. So it's probably, I mean, this is a girdle view, and I thought I saw one earlier that I thought might have been Punctus striata that you were looking at, but I was on the other side of the room trying not to butt in. And, but that one is definitely Punctus striata.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to get an image of it and try to
Okay.
figure out, the challenge will be trying to figure out, like, how do we distinguish this from other things in the light microscope? So at least you know you have one,
Yeah.
and then it's a matter of like trying to figure out which one we have, and then narrowing from there like our possible options for it. So, and then like how do we tell it apart, right?
Yeah.
So the thing that you'd probably confuse it with most readily is is the star Cyrella. So. Have you figured out whether up is bigger numbers or smaller numbers?
I thought I did. It's different every time.
This happens to me as well. I just learned to do it.
Yeah.
And then I just give up after a while ago. It's one of these. I'm just going to keep going in the direction I pick. So.
I'll make sure it's in focus. Yeah. Okay.
It's good. It's also a really good habit what you're doing over here, which is basically trying to look at it. See, I don't even know if it's that one because I somehow doubt it. It doesn't have the right shape.
Yeah.
But to get used to sort of looking at it here and then coming back to it on the SEM so that you can kind of see what to look for.
Yeah.
But do you see the header, the like red colored header, in the background at the top? Do you see the areolae?
Oh,
It's like in the area of the web page that you're not supposed to look. But that is actually yep.
Yeah.
Isn't that what yours look like?
Yeah.
So that's how you know. It has a sort of like grid-like pattern to the areolae, and that is definitely, like, when you see that, you know.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be like figuring out the shape, right, and figuring out how to sort that. So. Yeah. My guess is that they're pretty uncommon, but if you scroll down, does it have some names of some other ones? Oh no, it doesn't.
No, it's just this one.
So sometimes it gives you like a whole list of other species.
Yeah.
It's probably linearis. It's probably that other one that's at the top in the type species. Because this one looks really straight.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't seem like it has like a cruciform shape or anything like that. You have both valves, but only in girdle view. You haven't seen a lot of them, so
Yeah.
you know, present, but probably not like gonna mess up your counts terribly unless they become abundant. So we might want to check as we go through your samples a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, make a batch, and you know, if you have a whole bunch of these things, or a whole bunch of Cyrella, we might want to make those into stubs that we put on the SEM to make sure that they're all one or the other, or if it's a mix, get a sense of it.
Yeah.
But the preservation's a lot better on these slides, it seems, than the very top.
Let's see. Okay.
It's one of the nice things about having the SEM. We can go check things. And also, I think maybe you you get used to seeing things in the SEM and then know the characteristic that sort of defines a thing. Like, I don't think you'll ever confuse something in the SEM for punctus striata again, right? Because you see that grid and you're like, that's why that's different. And I think one of the things that's been really neat about looking through these samples with you is that you've got a bunch of little things, right? With slightly different areolae, and I think now you're kind of like, oh, I know which one this is, right?
Yeah.
Because you see enough of it. I know we talk about them in class, but it's not like you get quizzed over which one structure looks which way. But I think seeing it for yourself and then going to the actual SEM, you know, to look at those characteristics, I think makes it a little bit more certain for
Yeah.
you. So you're like, oh, it's got that. I know that one.
Yeah.
So. Oh, my friend Rachel is here, and she says she loves diatoms. Hi, Rachel. How are you doing? Hopefully, the snowstorm hasn't caused you too much trouble. I know it's been snowing a lot. Here it was snowing when I went out. We got here early and it wasn't snowing, and then I went outside briefly earlier, passed by a window or something, and I was like, oh, snow! And then I realized I didn't have my camera to take pictures of the snowflakes anyway, so I just come back and get to work. It's not like you leave your apartment anyway. Yeah. I guess that's one of the things that's nice about it. We get used to, like, our isolation. And for me, it's not that big of a deal either. I'm usually here at work all day, but
Is that Marty eye?
yeah, you had
Okay.
another one that I thought was
Mhm.
Martii as well. Yeah, it's a Starocera Martii. Or what we would call that, probably.
Yeah.
We're just having a little fun on the SCM today.
I think I'm gonna change to a different.
You're ready.
I'm ready.
You've seen
I'm
enough
ready
of this
to move
slide.
on.
Later slide. Our
Okay.
SCM is outfitted with a stub carousel that holds 7. What's that big round thing? Can you zoom in on it just so I can see?
Yep.
It's got Oligosayra stuck on it.
Mhm.
You'll need to get closer. That's as definite discus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is a granulata laying on top of it.
Mhm.
Nice, clean view of the side of it.
Let's see.
This one's got a lot of diatoms on it as well.
Yeah.
Little bit higher concentration, so they're easier to
Mhm.
find.
Granulata?
It's granulata.
Mhm.
Can you zoom in on the pores?
Yeah.
You just want to see what they look like. You might need to focus just on the pores themselves. So preservation's really nice, right?
Mhm.
We don't have any of that serious degradation that we're seeing in the sort of top couple of samples. And like right along the top up there above the furrow, there's a whole bunch of like really distinct looking, yeah. Well, I meant like up in here. There's a whole
Okay.
bunch of really distinct looking areolae.
Yeah.
You could actually see the sort of pore covers on them.
Mhm.
Just keep zooming in like a crazy person. There you go. And let's see if we can get that. The margins have like a... Yep, just try to get as close as you can to it in focus. That's good.
Okay.
And then we can zoom back out a little and maybe take a picture of it. So there, if you want to make it artsy, or if you want a picture, you have pictures of granulata already.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Not on
we
here.
should get a couple of pictures of the actual like whole body.
Yeah.
Ray Freemoon says, "Mower, zoom more." I think they're saying more,
Oh.
but they wrote it like mower, like lawnmower, but without the E.
Let's see.
It's good.
Okay.
So we're gonna slow down the beam, so it's at speed 7. We got beam intensity 7. So the picture will look really nice and sharp.
Okay.
And then do your thing. Perfect. So the image that we're looking at has a magnification around 11,000 times, almost 12,000 times. And on a typical light microscope, the limitation is usually, like, the maximum objective is usually in the range of about 1,000 times. So about 11 times more powerful than a light microscope can do. And when we were zoomed in like crazy people on the little core coverings, we were at like 90,000 times magnification, or maybe a little bit better than that. And so you can get kind of crazy with it. If you just keep zooming in, eventually the image gets kind of blurry, and it's hard to get a focus line without decreasing the beam intensity or playing with some of the settings a little bit. But this is a nice sharp image, and that's one of the advantages of it. Zooming in like that is that you get it really sharp and then zoom back out and it stays really sharp.
Yeah.
So this is the species is Oligosayra Granulata, named by the sort of large areoli that are sort of square-shaped or rounded squares that are the sort of darker areas on the frustule, as sort of granular, right? That's at least how I remember them. And then they're characterized by having this super long spine and a furrow on the opposite valve, the sister valve. So that's like in a colony, they would grow in a colony, and that spine would fit into the furrow on the opposite side. And they're almost always like this, where it makes a spine on one valve, it makes a furrow directly next to that spine. So when they were together, the two spines would be basically side by side. And for granulata, it also makes these little sort of, like sharp teeth-looking spines around the top of the valve. But these are separation valves. So for Oligosayra, they have two different types. One that splits the colony up, like Yoko Ono, and one that keeps the colony together with linking spines, right? Hello, Table Sick Maniac, hello. And you need to change your prefix now, because we're not in 4 to 5 anymore. We're in 9 to 10. Ah, the details are pretty amazing, aren't they? So,
Okay.
looking good. Should also feel like occasionally if you need to make like some table art images where you just zoom in and like crazy on something and it looks cool, don't feel, like you can't take a picture of that.
Okay. So I might try it here.
Something that'll look good
Speed
for
it
the
up.
Instagram site. And then I can tag you.
Okay.
So right now we're at about 65,000 times magnification.
Let's see what this looks like.
And you might want to just tweak the focus a little bit by like right in
Yeah.
here somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know that it'll get a lot better because of how close we are, but you should be able to get it a little bit cleaner. Yeah. Looks good.
Okay. Let's see.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let's try it.
You're ready to replace me with artsy photos already. Piece of cake. Oh, it's like got a little bit of distortion around the top
Yeah.
too. I wonder if it'll stay that way, or if it's just a little bit of defocus because we're in so close that the depth of field is extremely shallow.
Mm-hmm.
So our depth of Yeah, it looks like maybe there's just like an artifact of it going on, like it's charged a little bit or something. We might need to play with the settings a bit. But I think the part where we were focused should be alright. So we'll see. It's all a little jaggedy though. My friend Rachel is saying new to science in the chat because we had an annual meeting for one of my science projects for HSPDP, and I was showcasing some of the diatoms that were present in our samples, and I just kept going, this one's new to science, and I'd click the page and I'd be like, this one's new to science, and that one's probably new to science, and like, this one's new to science. So I made a hashtag for myself, and then I would just say, new to science, whenever I showed diatom pictures. But I like to make sure that they're actually new to science.
Yeah.
So this one's old to science. This is an old, very well-known diatom. Yeah, I was very casual about it. I guess when you get to that point where you constantly have to name stuff, it becomes more of a burden than like something special to you. It's like, oh, I've got to go through and describe all these species. Still exciting for me, even if it is a bit of a burden. You know, I'm not going to complain about it.
Okay.
You're ready. Let's see what else we got. It seemed like there's a lot of stuff on the slides.
Yeah. Yeah, the first one didn't have very much on it, but there's a lot
Rachel
more on
says
these.
this one is, oh, sorry, Kalathon said this is a waffle, and Rachel agreed it's a waffle.
Yeah.
It did look a little bit like a waffle. Also, I haven't had anything to eat today.
Yeah,
So-
I haven't either.
Both of us think it's a waffle, and we're ready to eat it.
Let's see.
If I had a little bit of butter and some maple syrup, I'd be on board. I'd give it a shot, at least. Let go of my diatom. Rachel wants to know, how do we get diatoms named after us? Well, Rachel, you make friends with somebody who has to describe new diatoms, and then that's pretty much it. I can name them after you if you'd like. Usually I like to name diatoms if they're like an interesting shape, after the shape. Or if I am naming them after a person, it's usually somebody who's famously worked in that area. And so I could name one after you from East Africa now, because you famously worked there. Or if we find one on the Sierras project that we are eventually working on, you'll have the possibility I could name one after you there. You know, it's always possible. If it's something that you really seek, let me know. And your diatom would be named Loopy and I, with two I's, Loopy and EI, Loopy and AI, if we named one after you. Yeah, that's a rule, Kalathon. I'm not allowed to name them after myself. So, you are a friend with someone who has to describe new diatoms. That's true, Rachel. So this is a granulata, and but this is the Remember I said one was kind of like Yoko Ono. This is the rest of the band that's trying to keep it together before Yoko got there. This is the rest of the Beatles right here. You can see their spines on this one, but they are little saddle-shaped, or not saddle-shaped, but spatula-shaped spines, and they're interwoven together.
Yeah.
So if you zoom in on that a little bit, they'll be able to see it very clearly. They're like little ice cream cone shapes, and they fit together right there where your cursor is. So that's the linking spines for Oligosayra Granulata. You don't need to stay on it. It's very similar to some diatoms from East Africa that I do have to name Rachel eventually. But the ones I found are very big and very weird looking. Not exactly granulata. These are domestic diatoms. These are from Iowa. They're not the exotic imports, but we do sometimes find things that we think are new, even in these. And earlier today, I thought we found like a Bigfoot cryptid. But I think it was just a circus freak, as I like to call them. Is it a phytolith?
Can't tell what this is.
I can't either. It looks like a little block of silica. Normally I would just blame that on phytoliths and move on.
Yeah, that's...
Or it's a crystal of some type. Lupieni has a great name. Oh, we could name it after your cat, Tina. Your cat is famous, so there's that. And you can pretty much, I pretty much have license to name it just about anything I want, except for myself. I can't name it after me. So I probably wasn't going to do that anyway. I would like, if I get named something after me, it's named by somebody else, because then it makes me feel, important. If I just named everything after me, that would be, I don't know what kind of maniac goes around naming everything after themselves and like putting it on gold font on the sides of buildings that they name after themselves, or golf courses. I mean, who does crazy stuff like that, right? I mean, some sort of megalomaniac psychopath. I wouldn't want to do that. All the little ones. Oh, can we zoom in on those stray? Uh-huh.
Good news, everyone.
Hey, we got a new follower. I forgot to turn the sound off, too.
I did not know what that was.
Did it startle you?
A little bit.
It always gets me. I'm always just like, "Eh, what was that?"
Oh, my.
It's all right, Eddie. Discovers, quote, Quarkmark is here, and Quarkmark says, Quarkmark's a follower, I think, already. And they say, discoverers of comets are expected to name it after themselves. Oh. Like Halley's Comet was named by Halley? Is that what you're telling me? They wouldn't name it after Halley? Ooh, I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a Cockneys, I think. Or is it?
Slower.
I think maybe it's a monoraphid diatom.
Okay.
It's just the araphid valve of a
Yeah.
monoraphid diatom. Yeah, I don't know. Because diatoms are a type of algae and they fall under the plant literature, or the plant naming convention system, and the people who do plants aren't allowed to name stuff after themselves. We are thus not allowed to name stuff after ourselves. But, other than that, really, I could name them after anything or anyone. If I wanted to name it after my daughter or my dog, or there's diatoms that are named after, like, they look a little bit like a condom, so they named it like Trojan Eye. Because the diatomists have a pretty good sense of humor about it, and if they've got to name a lot of things, as they go along in their career, they probably just, like, start just naming stuff after friends. So always good to be friends with a diatomist who has to name stuff. Plus, there's other benefits. They might be able to help you with your paleo-environmental reconstructions, which I feel like is probably the bigger benefit, but maybe I'm wrong. Barkmark said they would love to have their name on a comment. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't mind having Diatom named after me. I would like it if it was like, it would feel more honorary if somebody named it after me than me naming it after me, right? That just seems like, I guess you go from being kind of classy, having something named after you feels classy, to like naming something after yourself, which feels kind of gaudy, right? Like you couldn't get people to name it after you, so you named it after you. Right? I'm throwing hints at you, Addie. If you need to describe something and name it after somebody, I'm here for you. Except for I'd probably be an author on anything that you do pretty recently. But, you know, when you're done here with your master's and you've moved on, and you feel like naming a diatom after me, just let me know.
Okay.
I'll
keep you in mind.
As long as we still have a positive relationship, it'll be an option, right?
Yeah.
What did you find us?
I don't know what I found us.
I think I know that one.
Let's get close.
I like that response. Oh, Kalathon has a public vote for the next one. He thinks it should be Diatomy McDiatom Face, which I would support, honestly. That's a good name. Did you see how cool those pores were?
Yeah. Let's see.
Those are some, like, cool, weird pores.
Too close.
Maybe a little. I mean, you could
Yeah.
never get too close. They're like little tiny circles. Perfectly covered pores. I suspect this is your Fragillaria, like, crotonensis, or not crotonensis, voucheri-like thing.
Okay.
I'm not positive because it has spines. And usually spines means it lives in a colony.
Yeah.
But see how the striae disappear right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's maybe in that sort of Capuchina or voucheri class.
Okay.
It looks like something took a nibble off the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was just a
It's just the focus.
glitchy focus thing. You can still get a picture of it, it would be good.
Okay.
Don't feel like you gotta leave it behind because I figured out what it was. Plus there's areolae.
Okay, let's adjust here.
Let's see. Hard agree. I guess on Diatomy McDiatom Face. Rachel says, I don't think I'll be discovering any new leaf waxes to name after me. I know, it's like so one-sided. I do all this work. That's how all my relationships are with people. I do all of the work and willing to name stuff after them. And when am I going to get leaf waxes named after me? You know what I mean? I'm just going with it's not going to happen, so... I mean, people don't put names on leaf waxes. They just give them, like, chemical formulas, right? Mark, every time I see the stream, I check my Electron Microscope savings account. Still at $10. I feel like if you're at $10, it might be a while. Oh, what are you trying to do?
I accidentally,
Just
I
hit
didn't
cancel,
change
maybe.
I didn't change the speed on it.
Oh,
so
okay.
it took it
You
really
can close
fast.
it. Yeah, and just hit no.
No.
You don't want to see it.
Yeah.
You made a horrible mistake.
Okay.
It's the mistake that Mallory makes basically every time she uses the scanning electron microscope, and especially on the stream, like usually 5 or 6 times, where I have to tell her, Yeah, you need to take that with like a speed where you can actually see stuff. Yeah, $10 is, I mean, what you should do is, my recommendation is if you're a streamer, just open up like an Amazon wish list and stick what you want on there. And among the things you might list are a Tescan Vega 3 scanning electron microscope. And maybe like someone will come along and just buy one for you. And then you don't have to work your way up from $10 to $160,000 so that you could get one. I mean, by the time you get one at $160,000, they might have a new model, and then you'd have to get like you'd have to save up even more money. So it'd be better if you just got some rich donor to come along and buy one for you, or put the parts, like the individual parts, like they give you the price list. It's usually like, here's all the parts, and you could just get the price list, get the quote with the parts, and then just buy one part at a time and put it together yourself. There's cost savings there. Probably. It would be interesting to see if Amazon would let you just put an SEM on their account. My guess is probably not. But around Christmas time, my mom won't let me do anything if I don't put some sort of a wish list on Amazon, because she wants to go buy stuff for me, and if it's like not on a wish list, she doesn't know what to get. So you can use your wish list at Amazon to list non-Amazon items on other web pages. So just go to the Tescan site and mark what you want, and then add it to your wish list on your Amazon site. And I don't know why my mom gives me crap about it, because I put the $7,500 lens that I want on my Amazon wish list, and she never gets it for me. So, and then she's like, there's nothing on your wish list. And I'm like, no, there's stuff on my wish list. She just doesn't want to buy me it. Did you get anything good for Christmas? I didn't even get to ask you.
It's kind of changed to where, because now I have my own house and everything.
They buy you stuff for your house?
They buy me, like, I got a NutriBullet, which I use every day. It's like to make smoothies.
Yeah.
So.
You make smoothies every day?
Yes.
Like nutritious smoothies, or like sort of taste good smoothies? Like, is it mango and peaches, or is it like kale and and bee pollen?
It's always blueberries and bananas.
Oh, and that sounds good.
And protein. I do that every morning for breakfast. But
you didn't get it this morning?
Well, I did.
Oh, okay.
But it was a small one this morning. That's literally the only thing I've had today.
I've had a little bit of this 0-calorie Pepsi. It tastes a little bit like paint thinner. Also, it's got 0 calories, though.
That means it's good for you.
I don't know that that's true, but it's less bad for me, maybe.
Yeah.
Than the thing I could have selected. That had cool pores. That Diatom wasn't nearly as boring as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I should take a picture of those pores.
You do?
I think I should. Maybe.
You're close.
I do this every time.
I like when you zoom in. You zoomed into the part where there's no pores, though.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Hey, Pacific Plankton is here. I just invested in a new camera. This is from Quarkmark. For my telescope stream, so hopefully people will take mercy on me for the content I'm making. Yeah, oh, I should probably... We think we need to go eat? You know what? You know what we have in our campus food court, Rachel? If you ever came to visit me here, you know what we have? Your favorite. Taco Bell. I've never eaten at it. Have you ever eaten at it? Like the one here on campus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a few times. It's like most Taco Bells.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
We've discussed this before on stream, but the last time I ate at Taco Bell was before you were born.
Really?
How old are you, roughly?
20.
Yeah, way before you were born. I haven't eaten at Taco Bell since
That's
like
shocking.
1995.
Oh my goodness.
And it's not like I have anything against Taco Bell. I mean, it's not like I have anything for it. But it's not like I hate Taco Bell. Like, if
Yeah.
I had a choice of restaurants to eat at, fast food restaurants to eat at, I would consider Taco Bell.
It's kind of just like one of those things that you know you're going to be miserable after you eat, but you still do anyway. It's just one of those things.
Here's the thing. Like, if I was going to eat Mexican food from, like, a fast food restaurant, I would go, like, Qdoba or
Yeah.
or Chipotle. Like, that's sort of like one step up
Yeah.
from
I agree.
from Taco Bell.
I agree.
And then I would get tacos because I like tacos.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I just eat at home, and so I guess Taco Bell's just never on my like short list,
Yeah.
and hasn't been for like 25 years. Apologies to Taco Bell, but I know that Rachel loves Taco Bell, and I think the other problem is that my daughter won't eat tacos. So, like, I've been to McDonald's, even though I would rather eat at Taco Bell than McDonald's, but I've been to McDonald's because she'll eat a hamburger, and I usually just get the French fries because I won't eat anything else really from McDonald's. But and I'd go to Burger King. I would actually eat a burger from Burger King. Like on the snobby list, that's where I sort of draw the line. But she'll eat a hamburger. So if she would actually eat tacos, maybe I would be forced to go to Taco Bell more frequently.
Yeah.
But she won't. So there's that. Let's see. You're sorry for me. For Pacific Plankton, I don't have a public wish list associated with, with my Diatoms Attack account. I have a wish list on Amazon that's private that my family has. But it just has camera stuff on it right now. So nobody can afford it but me. In my family engine. So if we went to go eat right now, Rachel, then we wouldn't be able to stream. Or, like, I could go get some stuff from Taco Bell and bring it back for both of us, but then one of us would have to eat while the other person was doing stuff. And the other person would be forced to sit here smelling whatever it is I was eating or she was eating. So I think that's cruel. Bobber! Hello, Bobber. Rachel says, when you go there for lunch, I think she means Taco Bell, shoot you an email and you'll tell me what to order. Would I not know what to order at Taco Bell? Don't you just get the tacos? I feel like the tacos are where it's at. I have been to the Taco Bell on campus, I should point out, not to eat stuff. I just stole some of their hot sauce. And not because I like hot sauce, but because I wanted to show somebody how you could clean pennies with it. Because if you take their hot sauce and you put pennies in it, they come out looking like a brand new penny after about an hour.
I don't know how to feel about that.
You can read into that whatever you like. But I will tell you, if you have some dirty pennies that you need cleaning, get some hot sauce from Taco Bell. I promise you, they will come out looking like a brand new penny. It doesn't matter how bad they are. After like an hour in the hot sauce, you pull it out, it will be the shiniest penny you've ever seen. It'll look like it just came out of the mint. It's amazing. And I just wanted to show them that. And I wasn't trying to like badmouth the sauce. I like the ability to clean a penny like that, right? It'd be like a public service if we just made all of our pennies smell like hot sauce and be super shiny again. So
I might have to try that today.
we can do it after the stream. Maybe for the next stream, we'll just have a bunch of pennies that we collected from across the decades, and you can see they all look brand new. Pacific Plankton wants to know, do the smoothies offset the Taco Bell?
I haven't tried that.
No. Oh, you have I see. Rachel says she ate Taco Bell when she was a child, and now she has the strongest stomach. Parkmark says, here's the thing, don't call Taco Bell Mexican food, and you're fine. It's American fast food designed for when you're high. That might be the other reason I don't eat it. Taco Bell, Caleb then says, Taco Bell burrito smoothie. Just put them all together.
I don't know about that.
Just like a burrito with some bee pollen in it, and good to go. Stick it in the smoothie machine.
I don't know about that.
No? They used to have a really great like smoothie store where I was like in Nebraska where I got my PhD, and we'd go there and I would get like similar to, I always like to have the blueberries, but I would like to have something with peach in it usually, so like blueberries and peaches together, and then, you know, like after that, but they always had all these weird things that you could add, and bee pollen was always one of them, and I was like, why would you want to put bee pollen in this? They also had spirulina, which people often put in those sort of like smoothie shake things.
What is that? I've heard that before. Spirulina.
This is a type of algae that flamingos eat.
Oh,
to give them the pink color. And I was like, do I want to eat that? But people do.
Interesting.
Calethon, Dirty Smith says Taco Bell is no bueno here. Well, I don't know if they mean like in the channel or wherever Dirty Smith is, but have I ever seen the Taco Town Saturday Night Live skit? I have not. Let's see. Then again, the HCl in your stomach might do the same things to pennies. Yes. But I feel it's a lot easier to get Taco Bell hot sauce and put it on the pennies than it is to barf up some bile from my stomach and then put pennies in that. And slightly more palatable for the pennies, I suspect, after you're done with them. You're right. I probably could have done it with some HCl from my lab, and it might have a similar effect. But I know that the Taco Bell hot sauce will do it because when I was a kid, we did that. And I was like, look at this. This is amazing. And I think I spilled a little bit of it on a penny once, and just like a drop of it. And there was like a spot on the penny that was like brand new, and the rest of the penny was like a nasty penny. And I was like, how does that work? So then we started putting it on all of them, and I would just clean my pennies that way. Plus, they has an advantage that makes them smell like hot sauce. So Rachel says, I tuned in while I was putting together a marinade for Korean tacos for dinner tonight, and now I need to get back to work. But you don't want to leave because we're talking about, oh, what a pretty Stephanodiscus. Is it because we're talking about Taco Bell, or is it because there's really cool pictures of diatoms that we're putting on the scanning electron microscope? Or is it just that we're so compelling? This is sort of compelling TV that you can only get on Twitch, where we have a bunch of scientists talking about barfing on pennies. I would also point out another reason why I can't, I probably shouldn't barf up bile on a penny for you to clean it, or for anyone else for that sake, is, as we've also discussed before, I haven't thrown up for longer than I've not been to Taco Bell. So the last time I threw up was like 1993. And the last time I went to Taco Bell was 1995. So the chance of getting stomach bile from me is actually smaller than the chance of me actually going to Taco Bell and eating it. So right now, I'm having a contest with Mallory in my lab, who, as a proportion of our lives, We have identical amounts of time that we haven't thrown up. But she's only like 20, and I'm like much older than that. But the proportion when we did the math to figure out like who hadn't thrown up the most recently relative to our age, like per percentage of our lives, it was exactly the same number. Like 5 decimal places out the same number, and I was like, God, I can't even win. But for me, the time range is longer than she's been alive, so it's not really fair. Was this what you signed up for?
I didn't expect this to go this way today.
We're looking at a really cool Stephanodiscus. And look at those cool spines sticking out. Us crazy looking spines. Except this guy, right here, that's not a spine. These are all spines. See how this one's a little bit different? Only in its, not only in its size, but also in its position, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a ring of spines. And then there's this guy. There's like an imposter in there, right? A total imposter. It's like shorter than the rest of them. It looks like it could be a spine, but it's hollow. It's got a little hollow tube. Like these things that are behind it are little hollow tubes. So that's actually the rimiportula for the diatom. That's the external expression of its rimiportula. And these are the strutted processes out here that go around the outside edge. And I honestly don't know what that is. I have no idea what that thing is. It could be another rimiportula potentially that's just broken off.
Yeah.
But these are all spines. That's a rimiportula. It looks different, right? And you'd only know that if you were like a nerdy diatom person and you were looking at this and going, why does that one look that way? You would recognize immediately that that's where the rimiportula is located. And in this group, there always is a ring of spines, and they're always got beneath them on the same level a mantle portula. Always. The strutted process is always basically hanging out underneath one of the spines.
Cool.
Corkmark, don't put the pennies in your belly. That's actually a good thought. I don't recommend doing that. I highly recommend against putting the penny inside yourself in order to get it to the stomach acid. My recommendation was to throw up on the penny if that's what you wanted to do, and say you didn't have some other source of acid like Taco Bell hot sauce. Lots of lead found in hot sauce from Mexico. That's your public FYI for today from Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous Speed is, of course, the speed at which Dark Helmet, I think it was Dark Helmet, from Spaceballs set the spaceship to. So that's a classic. They were going through the speed combinations, and then they went to Ludicrous Speed. Movie reference. Let's see. Is that why I've had the metallic taste in my mouth for the last year? Probably. Oh, what did Rachel say? Oh, she's here because we have a nice community. What's that? That's a really cute way of like trying to enamor herself to my community. Quit being a suck-up, Rachel. No, we do have a really great community, and they're fun, and it's nice to hang out with them. Ray Freemoon says, I really appreciate all of the Microscope streams. I did one last night, and I did one this afternoon, and who knows, when I get home, maybe I'll do another one, but I've got to write a study guide and a quiz for tomorrow, and I got to read some articles, so I don't know if I'll fit it in. A lot of times I get home and I don't feel like streaming anymore, and my daughter is like, we're going to do a stream. And then I've got to listen to her, because if not, she throws a fit. Quarkmark, I'm learning so much here, but not about diatoms. 1993 was a serious year. Yeah. It's the last time I went to rallies, and that one did cause me to throw up. So don't eat at rallies. Also, don't sue me, rallies. I'm just kidding. That's a beautiful picture. Thank you. I didn't do anything. Cinnamon says that's the year that they were born. So I haven't thrown up since Cinnamon was around on planet Earth. And not the cinnamon spice, but the cinnamon we have in the channel. Water the Crow wants to know, where's the diatom's dong? Well, I have bad news for you, Water. Water the cow, that is. Diatoms are a type of algae, and they mostly reproduce asexually. And then when they do reproduce sexually, what happens is, for these ones, for example, their whole body just rips in half, and the sexy bits come out from the inside. So the whole diatom is kind of the dong, and it's also kind of not the dong. So just for your reference, because they're mostly splitting through binary fission, like mitosis, the meiosis stage is relatively infrequent for most of them, and they don't have a physical organ for it because they're single-celled organisms. And so usually if you have like a sexy organ, that requires you have like separate cells in your body, and diatoms are just one cell. So they just rip themselves in half, and the sexy bits come out. They go find other diatoms, and that's how that happens. It's sort of like a birds and a bees story, but a lot grosser. Hello, Devil Mrs. J. I'm going to give you a shout out because I'm in charge of the channel today, and I put someone else in charge of doing all the work. What's that noise?
I don't know.
Oh, don't worry about it then. I think it's this connection, maybe?
Okay.
Or the mouse.
Okay.
Some USB connection. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Devil and Mrs. J will give you a shout out, and I'll give a shout out to Pacific Plankton, doing work today as always in my channel, handling the questions. And I can give a shout out to Dirty Smith. Hello, Dirty Smith. Anybody else want to shout out while I'm shouting people out? If I left you out, it's not on purpose.
Good news, everyone.
Oh, we got a new follow. Did that startle you again? You can turn the
Not
sound
quite
up.
as bad.
Just click that button and right where the microphone is or the speaker is, and it'll stop playing that. Just click it. There you go.
Okay.
Now you don't have to hear it, and I can see it, but you don't have to deal with it. I was a new follower. Probably they were excited to hear about how diatoms had sex and their lack of genitals, like Barbie doll. Newt, yeah, thanks for joining the diatom army. Our ever-growing, well, usually growing, army of people who listen to me talk about, I don't know, diatoms most of the time. The longer I go without eating, the crazier I get, so... What's this, oh, that's, like the Pinata Star Cyrella, right?
Yeah.
What's the round one that's over there to the right? You keep zooming out, it'll show up. There it is.
Where at?
Your cursor's almost on it. It's like 3 o'clock from your cursor, or 4 o'clock.
Let's just zoom in. This?
Yeah. Is it the
This?
inside of a Stephanodiscus, or is it the inside of a Lindavia? That's what I want to know. Or is it something else? Ooh, what's going on here? Can we move to the middle?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. What'd you find?
I don't know. I keep finding I keep finding stuff.
It's a Oligosayra.
Okay.
It's an Oligosayra. This is the ring least. This little band here is the ring least.
Okay.
And those little
That
things
makes
sticking in
sense.
from the sides are probably the rim of Portula.
Okay.
It's like a box, not like a Pringles jar we're looking into, right? A
Yeah.
Pringles can. Hi, Mama Bonbon. How are you doing? You missed all of our exciting talk about Taco Bell. Now we're just talking about Pringles. Ooh, that's construins.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Star construins. Is that one of those spiny Oligosayras?
Looks like it.
Perfect. It does look like it.
Yeah.
So we're not sure what this is. Maybe subarctica or italica? Some type of Oligosayra. And normally I would have the answer, but I haven't seen it until now. I know that I've seen some pictures of your Oligosayras, but it's usually ambigua or granulata that you've shown me.
Yeah.
But that's something different. And you were a little concerned that you had like extra types of Oligosayra, but you can see how you'd be able to tell this one from the other ones by the spines, right? So it doesn't
Yeah.
have like one long spine and then a bunch of little ones,
Yeah.
or two long spines and a bunch of little ones, but rather a sort of a zigzaggedy outer surface. And I think maybe all of them are that way. I haven't seen any that aren't, but you know, so we could figure out what it is.
Okay.
Get us a
Take a
picture.
picture.
Yeah. Hey, Alpha Wolf, Alpha Bio. Welcome in. We're looking at diatoms from Clear Lake, Iowa. If you're wondering why are we looking at a lake from Iowa, well, it's because people haven't looked at a lot of lakes from Iowa to try to reconstruct the climate. And this is one that we think is going to be a good one. And so it's part of Addie's master's thesis. She's now a graduate student. How's grad school going? That good, huh?
Certain things are going good.
You like the research part.
Yeah, the research.
That's the
part
part
is
I'm
good.
responsible for.
Mhm.
And then a couple of classes where you're in with me that
Yeah.
hopefully aren't too bad.
Yeah.
At least while you're sitting here.
Yeah. No, I genuinely I like all the well, almost all my classes. There's one that I don't love.
Oh, current classes.
Yes.
Is
but-
it paleolimnology that you don't love?
No, that's what I do like compared to some others, but
I got you.
yeah,
I know what you're trying to say
yeah,
and which class you're talking about.
yeah. But for the majority of them, they're just, well, I guess it's just microfossils and paleolimnology. It's stuff that I do, and stuff like all papers and everything will just help me with this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
So what about the ever persistent problem of work-life balance? Do you feel like you've got a good handle on that, or are you just like totally stuck doing a bunch of work all the time and never sleeping?
I'm learning how to kind of balance things. It's sort of the start of the semester, so
Yeah.
I'm sure it will ramp up. Right now, I've been able to come home and have some downtime, which is good.
Yeah.
I know
Weekends
that
or
will
something at
change.
least.
Yeah.
Get a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but at least I'm not taking I think it was 6 classes like I was last semester.
That's rough.
So, yeah. It's at least manageable at
Yeah.
the moment.
Well, I was in charge of several of those classes, so I know I saw you in a bunch of my classes, and
Yeah.
it can be rough. When I was in grad school for my PhD, I don't know if you're planning on going to get your PhD, but for my PhD, I sort of treated it like a job. I would go in and I would do work, and then like 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever, I would go home, and I would just go do what I wanted for 3 or 4 hours. I'd try not to work on anything, have dinner, hang out with our dogs, do things with my wife, watch TV, and then like everybody in the house would go to bed, and then I'd go back to work for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was really productive from like 11 till about 3 in the morning, I'd get really tired, and then the next day I'd be productive like 11 to 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so I had this sort of like 8 hours, but I had them separated, and then I kind of like stuck life in there.
Yeah.
And It took me a while to sort of come to that pattern, but I think once you reach it, and I felt really good. And then occasionally I would have like, like it'd get jammed up because I had a conference or I had like tests to study for or something, and so I would have to do a little bit more,
Yeah.
like on a weekend or a weekday. But just set yourself to have like a goal, and then doing it, I think actually makes it more feasible. And then you're fortunate because you don't have like a jerk advisor who demands that you're always in the lab and working.
Yeah.
But you have to sort of like manage your own
Yeah.
time pretty well as a result, and it's a separate challenge.
Yeah.
I think it's a big change for undergrads because most of them are really bad at time management, and I'm not talking about you in any
Yeah.
particular way, but like most undergrads are really bad at time management, and grad school is like 80% time management.
Yeah.
Like learning that, okay, I've got a little bit of a break in my schedule, so I should try to focus a little bit on what's coming next, and then when it gets there, I won't feel like this massive crush to get things done all at once. Usually when you're an undergrad and there's a break in your schedule, it's like, okay, let's go build a snowman. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's just no connection to having to think about what you might have to do in the future and plan for it.
Yeah.
So there's these sort of like waves of things that happen. Like the first couple of weeks for classes is really tough, and then there's kind of like a gap for a while where there's like a sag where you can kind of like get research done and do things for a while, and then there's like a crunch time again, sort of in the middle of the semester, and towards the end of a semester is usually a second sort of wave of that like crunch time.
Yeah.
And you just sort of get a feel for it, and it gets easier. But it's usually the hard part for undergrads because they think that grad school is going to be like, I just take some classes and then I'm done, right? Because that's the way that your undergrad was, and it's not the way it usually is.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you're aware. So.
Yep. Now, I kind of just try to set, I guess, boundaries for myself. So, kind of like you said, I work well when I get up early. So I get up early and I get here early, and then I leave relatively early in the day. And then when I go home, I have some downtime and then have some time available. I can work on stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how it is at the moment, but it's all subject to change.
Yeah.
So.
My current work-life balance is like, I just don't sleep at all, and I get all kinds of things done.
Yeah.
It's not because I find it fun, but
Yeah.
I also don't like I can't. I've been doing sort of like, I work all the time enough that like when I don't have something to do, I feel like this like anxiety about like I should be doing something, and then I tend to like go do other things that are creative things that are for me, but they're still super productive. Like I go out and take photos, or I go build something. You know what I mean? Like I'll do something to kind of keep myself occupied. So I never really have like I'm just gonna sit and watch TV for like a whole day. Like I can't do that.
Yeah.
I would just like, I can't sort of just sit and do nothing for a really long period. And even if I did, like if I had a whole day where it was like something that I wanted to do, where I was just gonna sit and binge watch the entire series of something, like I could do that for a day or maybe two. Like if I had a week where I wasn't doing anything, I would just be like, I need to do something. So like, but I think as a result, being like overworked isn't really as much of a challenge for me. And I can go like, I go stretches where I don't have a day off for months, where I'm just like working on weekends, working at night, working at home, working at school. And I don't recommend it, but it's just like sometimes I'm just, there's nothing else I can do but that.
Yeah.
But you kind of need to have the right kind of support network for that. You kind of have to have the ability to do it, and I don't think it's a good model for like most people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recommend it. I give it 1 star out of 5.
Yeah, I just couldn't go without sleep. I need sleep to function, and that's about the only thing.
I'm like 6 hours of sleep a night is enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get like 8 hours of sleep, then I feel like bad all day long. And maybe I'm a little more relaxed than normal, but I feel just kind of like, I don't know, out of it.
Yeah.
And if I get 5 hours of sleep, I'm fine. 6 is
Yeah.
not. 5 is a little bit like, like I could go for a while with just 5 hours of sleep. If it's less than that, I kind of get like a little, I can't function. But most people are like 8 hours. That's sort of the normal recommended sleep load.
Yeah.
Carlin's that way. She needs like 8 hours of sleep, or else she's
Mhm.
really like not functional. I don't know, because she went, like when we had Sylvia, she went for long periods where she didn't get like 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And I think it, degrades your mental capacity somewhat.
Mhm.
You just end up kind of like tired all the time and burned out, especially if you need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Have been paying attention. Hello, Anakin Luke. And no, our Oligosayra doesn't look like a toilet paper roll, Mama Bon Bon. Am I still awake? Of course I'm still awake. You don't recognize this. This is Addie. She's a graduate student. Mostly we have undergrads here on the stream with us. But we're looking at Addie's samples, so we're being productive today. And she's actually doing some analysis, and we're trying to figure out her diatom taxonomy. So, type A person or a type B minus? Oh, I'm not really like a type of a person. Dirty Smith says, I haven't worked since June. Oh, I mean, like, that would just, like, that would be so hard for me. I would get so much stuff done that wouldn't be, like, work, but I would be, like, building stuff in my wood shop and doing a bunch of photography, and maybe I'd be on the SEM a lot. Let's see. Mountain Dew V says, ooh, SEM. Yeah, that's what we do here. About half the time, or a little bit better, we spend streaming from the Scanning Electron Microscope. That's a thing we do. Still months away before you go on vacation, Pacific Plankton. I mean, we had winter break, and I only came in and worked a little bit, but I still did a bunch of writing and whatever at home. I just have to. I owe manuscripts to people all the time, and it eats into my psyche if I don't get things done. So it's sort of like clay all over the inside of that thing. Maybe Stephanodiscus.
Yeah.
Is it time to go to sample 5?
I think so.
We've reached the end of our rope with 4.
Yep.
Ooh. Ooh. Always something new in a new sample. That's a Steph
Okay.
and a bunch of Oligosayras.
Go to this thing.
I'm pretty sure it's Stephanodiscus. Those look like the spines. It's all out of focus, so it's hard for me to tell, but you got it.
There we go.
Definitely
Yeah.
Stephanodiscus. Some cool things in there. A big Cerarella off on the right. and some navicula oblonga down at the bottom and in the middle. And that thing, whatever it is,
I get really confused with these little things.
that little guy,
It's,
that is really pointy. You're gonna need to zoom in so we can figure out what it is.
here we go.
Well, it's some kind of fragilarioid, either Synedra or Fragilaria, or potentially Ulnaria. It's very big,
Yeah.
but it's also very pointy.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, Fragilaria tenera,
Okay.
but I don't know for sure because the shape is a little bit wide in the middle.
Yeah. I know I've got this in my well, I
Oh
think
no,
I do.
it's too big for that. So that's about 100 microns across.
Oh.
Ulnaria something, I think. We
Okay.
should get a close-up of the...
Yeah,
I think it's an ulnaria.
yeah, it looks like they're
They're matching across.
Mhm.
But you even know what to do. I
Yeah.
don't even have to like explain stuff to you. The star pupil.
okay. Let's just move around here. There's another one.
There's a giant Stephanodiscus. Oh, Dirty Smith, you still don't have your shop set up? Is that just because you can't get the contractors to come? Because I think that was what the problem was when you first were going to start streaming from your Smith? From your shop? It was like still sort of putting the flooring in or something? Have you reached the point where you're burned out on the scanning electron microscope yet?
I mean, it's crazy how fast the time has passed because we've been here since 9
Yeah.
and it's 3 o'clock somehow. I have no idea how.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
You just get in a little world and you're like just locked in, and then you're like, how did so much time pass? Our
Yeah.
streams from the scanning electron microscope and also from the light microscope at home when I do it, I'm just like, that was 2 hours?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I didn't look at anything. It's an Ensynema.
Yeah.
It's making a poopy face. It's got a little bit of junk on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could find a better one. We're gonna dismiss it. We only take the best photos of the best diatoms. Don't give us your second rate. Oh, it's a monoraphid, I think,
Yeah.
of some type. Yeah, you know what that is.
Titleist?
You know it.
I'm glad I've had this refresher today.
You get a little bit of study time in by accident.
Yeah.
That one's funny looking. It's construins, right?
I think so.
It's like
Although it's-
slightly asymmetric.
Yeah.
It wasn't able to make the shape it wanted to, and it made this one instead. Let's see. Pacific Plankton says, can you burn out on an SEM? No, but you can get like you know, last night we were talking about concentration headaches.
Mhm.
I think you can get a concentration headache, because you're just like, you're focused for so long on these little tiny things. The one thing that makes it a little bit easier for the scanning electron microscope is when you go to take a picture, you can take a break. And you can check your phone, check your mail, you know, make a post on Twitter if you want, send pictures of weird deformed diatoms to your friends. You know, anything that really sort of cuts into the day a little. And then, so you don't have to constantly be like intensely focused. But then you just turn it right back on and you get back to the sort of intense focusing. So you can't really get burned out like you're tired of it. That never happens to me. But I can get sort of concentration tired, you know, where I'm just like, oh God, I've been staring at the SEM for 8 hours now. And, you know, like, even though you don't want to leave, but you also are sort of like, I need to go eat as a human being. Look how it's so funny looking. Look at how long the striae, they like wrap around the edge like a baseball or something.
I've seen a few. I took a few pictures of these.
It's easy for me not to burn out on something because you've been doing all the work. I had like a 2-hour Zoom meeting in the middle of our session where I was busy, I guess, trying to figure out how we're going to save the university from the universe. And that cut into my SEM concentration headache pretty good. Although I was basically just staring at the SEM through most of it, because it was on the other side of the room. Is that the same one or a different one?
It's the same one.
Oh, you really
I just
like
kept, yeah, I kind of like to. These are the ones that get me. These little ones.
You don't know what it is?
Mm-mm.
No one else knows what it is. Did you notice that? Carlin doesn't know what they are, and I don't know what they are. So
that makes me feel better, but
it's good.
at the same time, it's.
Well, you're the only
like,
person who needs to identify it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a million of these.
Just call
like,
them. They're all the
things.
same, though. Just call them the
Yeah.
same thing. SP.
Yeah.
We're just gonna call it Starosira SP, and it's a little round guy, and you can call it CF Venter if you want, but
Okay.
it doesn't really matter, right?
Okay.
So the one bright side of all of that is there's no world where these are going to be the cue that like solves the environmental questions that you're trying to ask, because they can't provide us with a lot of information.
Yeah.
So it'll be okay if we don't get them completely right. I think it's useful that you get them identified as best as you can in the slides, but like they're going to be sort of filler when it comes to like trying to figure out what does it mean. So it won't be that big of a deal.
So if I just count this when I'm counting as Starosira
SP.
SP.
As long as it's
Okay.
consistently the same thing, it doesn't
Okay.
matter. We don't have to have a name for it. You know, SP is the same as CF Venter, except for CF Venter means you think it might be Venter.
Yeah.
Or you think it isn't Venter, but you'd like to compare it with that.
Yeah.
And it's not going to matter. One Starosira tells you about as much useful thing as another one, in my opinion, for like long-term climate change. On a really sort of at a very fine level, they might tell you something different. But I think for the sort of granular sort of view that we're looking for, like depth or broad environmental characteristics, I think that just having one is as good as another.
Okay.
They're not going to be like the linchpin transition that you see that like solves the murder mystery of what happened to the lake. It's not gonna work that way. So just be able to go, it's the little round one that looks like a baseball with too many stripes on it. And honestly, I've had students where I just told them, don't bother with the name. Just call it like Jim. This one we're naming Jim. As long as Jim is always Jim, that's all that matters. So it doesn't need to be right. It just needs to be the same.
This one I've been calling Spider Striae.
Spider striae.
Because every single time I see it, it looks like a spider.
Yeah.
So.
That's good enough. As long as when you go to publish it, you don't call it Starosira Spider Striae.
Yeah.
and you scrub that part out and turn it into SP1 or SPA or what you could do though is call it like SS, right? Then you would know it's spider striae, and no one else would know what the SS stood for. They would just think maybe you're really into Nazis or something. I don't know. So on the bright side, normally we end our stream at 3:30, so or around there. So I feel like we could do that today if you'd like.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to take a break and get some food, and oh look at there's a phytolith down in the bottom left-hand corner.
Right here.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you just want to take a break from the SEM for the day, that's also fine. We don't need to continue anymore. Up to you.
Okay.
You have class at 4:30.
4:30.
And you need to study for your quiz, so you might want to just take a break and call it.
Yeah.
And then we can pick it up again on Friday or next Wednesday or whatever you want. Saturday. We have another stream planned, but you could avoid the streams if you want to. You don't need to necessarily have the extra pressure of being forced to talk about Taco Bell or whatever.
This stream went better than the first stream.
Did it?
Yes.
Why's that?
I felt like I was just really nervous the first time around. I
didn't notice at all.
I don't know why, but I was. I shouldn't have been.
The first couple of streams I was nervous. You get over it.
Yeah.
I just forget I'm doing it. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess there's people here. Mallory keeps reading stuff at me. That's unusual. This one was nice. My friend Rachel showed up. Rachel that we interviewed. We read her paper for class. She wanted to know if we trashed it. And I told her we didn't, so.
I don't think so.
We did trash a paper this week,
Yes.
though. Pretty hard.
It was a horrible paper.
That was a terrible paper. And I feel justified in trashing that one.
Yeah.
I feel like I could just pull it back out and trash it some more. It was that bad. We won't say which paper. That would be mean. But they need to look into some things, like how to do cluster analysis and maybe what their own data says is the top side of the core versus the bottom side of the core. I feel like those are key ingredients to a good paper, is knowing which side is the top of a core. It's a good confidence builder, though.
Yes, it was. Because even though I don't know much about statistics yet, like I still feel like I could write a better paper than that.
I'm sure you could. Is this
So.
brevistrata?
Yes.
Pseudostarosauria brevistrata?
I think so.
A little one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had, so there's brevistriata, and then there's one that's Neoelliptica.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I had this, but I've not seen it, so maybe I didn't, because their measurements overlap like a lot.
Yeah.
So yep.
Dirty Smith says I picked my nose too much on stream, or maybe too much to stream. I mean, there's probably people out there that would pay for that, Dirty Smith. They'd probably sub-rate up when they saw you picking your nose. I mean, if you're working in like a smith shop, probably there's a lot of stuff in your nose that you don't want there. I don't know, I've never done it, but I feel like smashing metal with a giant hammer probably creates some issues with like stuff getting in your nose.
My husband's trying to learn how to do that.
Really?
Yes. We watched this show called Forged in the Fire,
Mm-hmm.
and ever since then he's been trying to figure out how to do that.
It seems like it's an expensive hobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have a wood shop where I don't usually use hammers. I use a planer, a table saw, a miter saw, a router, and drills. And that's pretty much, well, I've got a sander, but can make some decent stuff from it. I like building and creating things.
Yeah.
But I would never even think about like trying to heat metal up to the point where I could smash it with a hammer and reshape it. It sounds outside of my range. But maybe I would change my opinion if I watched some of it. Like watch somebody do it. Think I could do that. Plus it would make me like build up my muscles.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, when we find something cool, take a picture of it, and then I can find somebody to raid. We can send these lovely people who've been hanging out with us somewhere else, and you and I can individually find things to eat,
Yes.
and you can relax a little bit before your class. So I'm not held responsible for how your class goes. You won't be like, that jerk made me stream from the SEM, I didn't get a study for my quiz, and I only got a 19 out of 20. Or whatever you're gonna get.
Let's see if I can find something.
Step 1, find something cool. It could be anything. Yeah, pick one of the
Let's see
big
what
ones.
This is.
Something laying on its side. I don't know what that is. The other way.
It may just be.
A big piece of junk?
Yeah, that's. I don't think that's anything.
Plant material, maybe.
Let's see what this is.
Well, I want to show you something when you're done with this.
Okay. Is this just a star anise, but
That's a star
from
anise.
the inside?
That's a star anise from the inside.
Okay.
Look how good you are. You don't want that one?
I don't want to take a picture of that one.
Look on the left at the top.
Right here?
There. Yeah, I want you to look at that. This is going to be your quiz. That is a giant piece of plant material, and those are phytolith pieces, I think, sticking off of
Oh,
it.
cool. Cool. Yeah.
Those little squiggly ones?
Uh-huh.
Yep. I don't remember what those ones are called, but I see those regularly.
Uh-huh.
And then that middle piece that's there that looks like a gaping mouth or something,
Yeah.
I think maybe a stoma.
Cool.
We would need Chad to tell us for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll pretend I know what it is. Pretty sure that's plant pieces, though. I'm pretty sure that's phytolith material.
Okay.
All right, find us something.
Next thing I find, it will be.
Now there's all this pressure.
I know. Now I want to find something cool.
It's a diatom. They're all going to be cool.
Okay.
Can you zoom way in on it?
Yes.
Then you're going to tell everybody what it is.
Is it Navicula?
You see up in here?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Open chambers with a bunch of little holes. Otherwise an naviculoid. It could only be one thing.
I should know what it is.
Actually, it could be two things.
I should know what this is.
You
It's
actually
bothering me
identified
that I
it
don't.
earlier.
Is it a pinnularia?
It is a pinnularia.
Okay. Okay. I see it now.
Yeah. It's a little bit more obvious when you look at the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
To zoom in into the actual like striae, and you can see the pores on the other side of the valve through it. It's a pretty cool image. Right there, do you see them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just focus in there, and then we can just take this as a picture. That'll be good. That'll be a good one.
Okay.
No more searching required. So great.
Okay. So
Compose it as you like.
I'm gonna get a little closer.
That's what I would do too. I always just want to go a little bit closer.
Right there, maybe. Let's see. Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
There we go. Excellent. Let's see. There are black booger days. Oh well. District 10 Mushroom says, looks like we're buying a house. Uh-oh. And Alpha Wolf says, see you later. And that's what's going on. So this was a fun stream. I'm sorry it started late. You can blame the people who are faculty in my department for making the meeting extra long. And I'm gonna grab us a person to raid by looking at my selection of people who I follow. And let's go visit Allison B. Wild. She raided us the other day. You saw me typing and nothing was happening, right? Did that work? Or is it... It did work. Alright. Yeah, I'll fix that later. District 10. Thanks everybody for hanging out and for entertaining us. And hopefully you enjoyed our views of diatoms from Clear Lake, Iowa. And thanks for Addie for helping me stream today. And we had a bunch of followers. I didn't point out the names of any of them, but Bloodglow, Pirate, Disney Dad, and Sherwina, and then Modschwinge, something like that. So thank you guys for the follow, and thanks for everybody for hanging out, and thanks to Pacific Plankton for helping moderate. And yeah, no problem. Good luck on your house buying, District 10. We'll catch you soon. And yep. Thanks, Andalora. We'll see you later. We're gonna go raid Allison right now. She's probably doing something outside, something cool outside, someplace warmer than wherever we are. And enjoy.